In our terminal UI up until this point, we've been using all renderables. So text renderable, input renderable, box renderable, and so forth. And in a previous video, we looked at how we could utilize inline text styling to avoid having to create a bunch of text renderables. But that also led to kind of an awkward scenario where we created this giant template literal, which is great. It's good to know how to do that. But there is another version rather than using renderables, which give us a lot of power, but may not be needed when we're just talking about what's essentially a dumb component. So this component more or less just operates on its prop. So is it selected? What's the status? Things of that nature. And then this is all that's going into it. So what we can use is called a construct. So text renderable is the renderable. The construct is just text. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new component here. I'm going to call it TaskItem.ts. We're actually going to bring a lot of this stuff over, so I'm just going to copy it. We'll figure out what we do and don't need. Okay, we're going to bring in box and text from OpenTUI Core, not box renderable and text renderable. We're going to import our task type. And we're going to need our theme and our priority color from utils. This is just going to be a function. We're going to call it task item. We're just going to take in the task, which is a type of task, and is selected. We'll leave that in the UI. So that's if you're coming from a React world, these are our props coming into our component. We don't want to have to figure out a bunch of stuff in our component. This should be relatively dumb. So it is selected, it's looking at app state and things of that nature, so we don't want to mess with that. So this should just be a Boolean. So we're definitely going to use all of these colors. So I'm just going to bring that up here. Now what we're going to end up returning here is a box. The first argument are going to be the properties for the box, and then everything after that, we're just passing in elements, and we can pass in as many as we want. So all of these will be text elements. So in this guy, we're going to say flex direction is row. And to achieve the little bit of gap here, earlier we were using spaces. We're just going to say gap is 1. Okay, so then we're going to drop in our first text element. And this is going to be the cursor. So that's this guy right here. We've got cursor color. So the FG on that, the foreground color, is going to be cursor color. And now we need to get the content in place. And if we take a look, we have that right here. If it's selected, it's the little greater than. And if it's not, it's the 2 empty spaces. So that stays the same. We're just going to copy this guy down. This one will be our little checkbox guy. So we can copy that from our previous code, drop it in there. And this will be status color. After that, we have our title with the title color. And after that, we have our priority. And that'll be our priority color of task.priority. And then finally, we have the date. That's our date string, foreground of, I think that was theme.dim. Okay, we can clean this up. It's looking good. We are going to jump back over to our index. We're going to import that guy. Jump back down here, and I believe all we're going to need is the is selected. And then instead of generating new text renderable, what'll happen is when we return that box with the text and everything, here in our renderable, we're using the scroll box. When we say add, it'll take those constructs and convert them to renderables for us. So we just need to say task item, and we know this is going to return the constructs. We'll pass in the task and is selected. And if we load that up, we can see I can add new tasks. I can focus up here. I can check on these guys, and I can change the priority. So we've maintained the exact same functionality in a more modular, componentized fashion.